think about musicians and all the money that's taken from them, not only in streaming right now, for you to get, if you have 1 million streams as a musician, you know how much money you get back? You get back $4,000 for 1 million streams.
That's wild.
Right?
That's wild.
Right? So there has to be other ways for them to make money. And then if they go perform, then you have others that get in the way. That you have to go through one source, which is Live Nation. They take away, they get 2/3 of the money for your performance, and you have to go through them. We can disrupt that with Web3, and that's where we're creating the tools, as he said, for ticketing, for direct interaction. Film directors shouldn't have to get the blessings of Netflix, Hulu.
Wait. Before we get into that, though, I don't want to go too far on that one.
Yes. So we have the power for crowdfunding behind this to build money, to build crowdfunding, and then when you go to Netflix, you go to Hulu, if you want to go through that. And I think that's still going to be relevant. You have more power, so you don't have to give away all your intellectual property.
Very true. Very true. Here's a question from the audience, because we definitely want to get them involved in this conversation. For aspiring and emerging artists looking to get into NFTs, what are some of the tips and suggestions to get into this space? And I want to caveat that one to make sure that there's a way to curate the actual use of these things, that it's not just a matter of the supposed money, but actual creation that has vested interest. Is there a tip that you guys want to start off with? And I'm going to ask, just so we can keep it moving, that we can kind of throw something out there, and if you can build on it, but just a quick, tip that you would suggest for that.
Absolutely. I'll start. One, think about the user experience, the utility. You look at NFTs, and there's a lot of crypto art, and it's great, and there's a value to it. But to build true value and to get one of these, Bored Ape Yacht Clubs or one of these huge things, you want to make sure there's utility. What is the person going to ultimately get after, besides just making their avatar? What are you going to be able to do with it? Is it going to give me a key to this party? Is it going to get me a discount on this shirt I want? Is it going to give me exclusive access? These are things that people really gravitate towards and should definitely be thought of. And just on top of that, make sure you understand that just because you make an NFT doesn't mean you're going to get residuals off it. These things have to be written into the smart contracts. These things have to be discussed, because there's a lot of people who will say, oh, you assume you get this? Well, you don't, and then it gets sold for $1 billion and you don't get any additional income off it. So understand the legalities of it and make sure this utility would be my drop.
I love the utility aspect of that. Yeah. That's brilliant. Do you warn against people? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, let me jump in too. Like, it first starts with the art. Like, the art needs to be good, and people need to resonate with the art before anything else. That's the number one thing, is the art. Like, the first advice I will tell you is not to do something for the money. Do it for the passion. Like, do it because you love your craft and you want to put out the best possible work out there for people to enjoy and to have an experience with. The minute you try to do it for the money, it's cut. Yeah, people will know.
Yeah, I would say very, 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 very quickly, I believe in utility. Our marketplace platform, we have custom solutions built for utility. I think utility is in other words, real world value attaching to your NFT is very, very important. And then you need to think about 3 other things: the ownership, because there's only 4 things that make it valuable: utility, ownership history. Does somebody uniquely within your group own it? Michael Jordan, I throw that out there. Oprah Winfrey. That's obviously going to raise the value just like it would in any other physical piece of art. If it's rare in some way, what is your rarity? How are you making sure certain aspects are rare? What type of art do you want to do? Is it going to be a generative art piece? Even you said the Bored Ape Yacht Club, that's when you have the bigger pieces, 5,000s. Are you going to be a one of one? Are you going to be whatever? There's no, how are you going to enter this? If you're a film director, you need to think about this in the most creative way, and then think about how you're going to continually add value to it. And then finally, if it's the first of its kind. So if you can do something that hasn't been done, and there's a lot of stuff that still hasn't been done in this NFT space, that increases the likelihood of your value. But long story bearable, definitely learn by doing. Start small, learn, go into some communities, ask questions, and then start small with a project that you can learn from and then build from there.
I appreciate that.
And I'll say one really fast thing. Everyone's saying the art. I always try to change it slightly. And there's art, and then there's the experience of the art. right? And when you're talking about metaverse, it's not just the art, it's how are people going to see it from every angle? How are, like, we actually have this concept of a 4D NFT, you know what I mean? Where you stand in front of it, you view it, and then you step into it. And what is that experience going to be, both visually and like with your auditory experience? You know what I mean? When you're inside the art itself, think about it that way. If you are going to create something, just to riff off of what Rob just said, create something that hasn't been done before and watch people flood towards you accordingly.
I love that. I love that. Miss Nia, we have a piece when it comes to NFTs, and obviously you've got the NFT AtlantaCon coming up, where there's a negativity that's been associated with NFTs, and I was hoping that you could speak on that, both in the sense of the climate control aspects of it that a lot of scientists have been concerned about with the energy production of it, and on the social level, there was the semi-recent showcase of slaves within the NFT market. And I would love to get your thoughts on that one.
So I think the response to the climate issue has more to do with the mining of Ether or Bitcoin. The crypto mining is the climate concern. There are blockchains that have been developed and are being developed that are not as energy, they're not draining energy. They're not, they're completely opposite to the Ether or to the Bitcoin blockchain. So I think that putting that aside and understanding that there's an evolution, and with any evolution, there's change. And so that was the genesis. And now we're kind of further down the road, and there will still be other technologies that will be developed that I'm sure will be reducing a carbon footprint. In terms of the meta slaves, I mean, I loved what Shay had to say about it's very dangerous out there, and people are assuming that this is a safe space to wonder. I think that as people of African descent, we have to be very mindful and be very vigilant about what's going on in this metaverse. When a meta slave auction can be held on the biggest marketplace, we need to be very concerned not only about the fact that that was created because the conversation went back to, oh, it's code. Well, code has to be created, right? It just doesn't pop up and occur. So code was created, and the result was these meta slaves, which resembled people of African descent 100%, and then was allowed to be placed in this marketplace. Nobody questioned the marketplace's ability to put it there and pretend to look in the other direction, which leads itself to say, okay, if there's a meta slave auction, there means that there's a meta plantation somewhere, and we have to, I think, again, really be concerned about what's going on in this metaverse and being very vigilant about being vocal about what's allowable and what's not, and not giving a pass to individuals who say, oh, I didn't recognize it was offensive. How could you live on this earth and not recognize that slavery is offensive in any manner? And a slave auction of human beings that happen to resemble us and our ancestors, how could that not be offensive and allowable? And you are able to continue. So yeah, I feel I'm very passionate about that. I'm very passionate about the fact that we need to keep watch. We need to have watchdogs in the metaverse the same way we have watchdogs in communities. And I think that, one of the things that we haven't talked about with the smart contract, which, I wanted to say to artists earlier, is one of the benefits of this technology is the authenticity. And part of that is storytelling. And it's creating the story of authenticity that supports, so that later down the line that Marcus Harden won't be blonde-haired and blue-eyed because he created something different and he lived in, the fifth arrondissement of Paris. Yeah. So, it is the power of this that, far exceeds a piece of art. It's more than a piece of art. It's the story. What vertical? Where's your point of entry? And we all have something to say. So the art is valuable if art is your vertical. But if it's not your vertical, if it's filmmaking, make that film the best film and put it out there, because now you have no gatekeepers.
Absolutely.
You are, so you're telling a story as an author. I mean, this is our ability to tell our stories.
I love that. I love that.
Unhomogenized.
No, that's so important. And I kind of want to throw in an aside on the auction piece, that in a way, I do feel like it was a convenient way for people to out themselves with their interests of subjugating us in visualizations like that. So thank y'all for showing who you really were, because we see you now. Shay, absolutely. Shay, do you mind sharing some of the things that you see that make a successful marketing campaign in the metaverse space, and how is it different from traditional marketing efforts? Oh, you're still muted. Nope, we still got you muted.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so we've seen a lot going on, concerts in the metaverse, in the fashion industry, but I definitely want to take note that the fashion industry has really done a remarkable job on marketing in the metaverse. And what they've done, and what my company does too, is they've really merged together real world marketing with this meta marketing. And that's what really needs to come together. And when you market in the metaverse, you really have to have people understand that there is no limitation to what can happen in the metaverse. We're bringing something new and fresh and exciting. So when they did all the new fashion lines in the metaverse, the key to hooking people in or seeing these new skins or, these new clothes for these avatars, this was something, beyond what we've seen before. And all industries are really going to have to entice people about thinking outside of the box, Victor. That's really what the metaverse does. It is created to enhance the real world, not to replace the real world. And so when I saw that marketing campaign, I got it. I loved it. I mean, I was invited to all these events. I knew everything that was going on. Again, this is in the real world. And when I was in the metaverse, there were lots of billboards saying, don't forget, this fashion show tonight, this fashion show the next night. So it really did work harmoniously, again, with the real world interest in taking it and leap into excitement. And so that's what you really need to see to get people from the real world into the metaverse. Gotcha. But also keep in mind, things in the metaverse really need to be fresh. It needs to be safe and exciting, because things can get ugly, as Nia said, really fast. And we don't want that, and we don't want people promoting that in there. So if you really do marry those two in marketing and branding, I think you will see people, very much excited. We need more than just concerts in there. There needs to be more learning experiences. One example, I know they are literally building the Brazilian rainforest there. There are so many people who have not had the opportunity to see that. And soon they will be marketing this experience in the metaverse. This is something, just promoting excitement, safety, excitement, and learning, and putting your passion behind it and connecting with people. That's going to be the best campaigns that we'll see in the metaverse. I'm telling you, that is what's going to connect all of us. And as Marcus said, the metaverse is about unity and connecting everyone from all over, not just your region here and your region there. It's really about the connectivity. So once you have a campaign that connects on a larger scope, it's endless on the amount of people who will really walk with you into this new world.
I love that.
Can I add to what Shay is saying just for a second?
Yeah.
As someone who has been working on stuff since flip phones, right? Trying to make things happen. I want to talk about the actual concept of how people will experience it.
Okay.
And how, what type of devices people are basically going to be using it. Because there's this belief that I can't really participate in this particular space until people have headsets. Everybody's wearing a headset. You tell that to someone in different parts of the diaspora, who can't get their hands on a headset or couldn't afford it.
Right.
You're basically isolating people and pushing them outside of participating in this particular new form of technology and experiences. What I'm here to say is, if you have a computer, if you have the right type of technology, if you have the right idea, if you have the ability to create art, as Marquise and Rob and Adrian have said, if you can just create, if you're a creator, there are those of us out here who will take whatever you have and make it possible to get out to as many people as possible. I have been combating this belief system around, headsets only, to anything with a screen. You know what I mean? Anything with a screen will work.
So
As
it's
long
super
as you can
accessible.
as long as you can get that out there, and if you can create something that can work on any screen, you will have an audience. Please, I don't want to take up too much time, but I'm here to basically say, if you're an artist, if you do 2D animate, like 2D artwork, animation, if you're a 3D designer, if you're a futurist, if you just have an idea, of something
Explore
that
what can be done.
be digital, you can participate. Please participate. Don't let other people tell you that you can't, or believe that, oh, that's going to be 5 years from now. Right now is when things are happening. And if you don't get in on it now, you're going to be 5 years behind.
Appreciate that.
And
Adrian?
just to piggyback, because it's so profound what's being said, and this has been our approach for a long time. People consume things differently. How do you make something exciting? Make it accessible through all mediums. Make it accessible through 2D, through AR, through VR. The true hybrid or transmedia approach is you're letting people pick the way they consume.
Right.
Now you're bringing everybody in. Now it's exciting. Now you've really boosted the narrative, and that's all that matters. And you hear me every talk, I say narrative, but that's it. Everything's the narrative. How do you want to consume this narrative? How are you going to relate to this? And then it becomes, equitable, and people have equal access because they're not just dependent on, headsets, which they may or may not be able to afford. So I love that point, because it needs to be driven home. So thank you, Robert, for saying that.
That's
and
amazing.
Shay, as well as Marcus. Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, Adrian, what's one of the projects that you are most proud of that you've been a part of?
Oh man, so I'll try to make it quick. So one of the ones we did was we did a show with Rhapsody in alt space, and the reason that this was so beautiful was initially we're doing it for CES, and I did this whole spaced out thing, and I had poker chips, and it was great. So then I showed it to Rap, and Rap's like, "Oh, that's cool." I'm like, "What you mean it's cool?" That's
more than cool, man. Give me some.
What do you mean? And she's like, "I'm not really into sci-fi." So then it's like, "What are you into?" And she's like, well, I like a Brooklyn block party with graffiti and this, that, and the third. And then we built that. So now her fans have a chance to party inside her head. You're being able to create an experience without any raw materials, because there are no limits. To Shay's point, there's no limits anymore. So now you're able to give them a truly immersive experience. And it went over it was phenomenal. And everybody was talking about it, and that opens up to, what do other artists want? What could artists not be limited in their concert experience? What could they not be limited to, and say, hey, look, the label says you have 500,000 to do this. No, let's say, what if you had 500 billion? What would you do? What face melting experience could you do? And that's so exciting to me, because now I can really push the narrative again, in ways that, aren't typically available through most mediums. So that just it blew the roof off, and now we're doing holograms and everything else, because there are no limits. Of course, there really aren't. So
I love that.
Short story long. That's
no. That's a wonderful one. I want to make sure that everyone has an opportunity to say where folks can find you on social media. So Nia, if we can start with you, if you could let us know where we can find you, because there's a lot of questions, and I want people to be able to contact you guys directly to continue the conversation.
So we're at Melanated Studios on all platforms, Discord channel, hashtag 1633 at Melanated Studios, and then at NFT Atlanta Con, NFT Atlanta.
And that's
So
a virtual event, correct?
No, it's in real life. It's it's in real life, May 24th to 26th. Shay is one of our speakers, and Rob, so you can hear more from them in real life. I think Adrian, today you became one, if I'm not mistaken. So it's we're really excited about it. It literally is to do everything we talked about here. It's to show innovators, subject matter experts, visionaries, thought leaders, to show that we are not just the talent or the help, but we are actually moving and creating the space.
Very well said. Very well said. Shay, what about you?
People can find me at www.futurewisegroup.com. My business partner and I. You can find me on LinkedIn. I'm heavily on LinkedIn, actually. I am not on Facebook. I'm so sorry. I actually am not big on social media, except for I'm on Instagram rarely, but really LinkedIn, because that's where my business associates are. So if you're looking for me, Shay Richburg there, and I look forward and welcome to working with a lot of you. And it was wonderful in speaking with you all today.
Thank you
for
so
having
much.
me.
Marcus?
Unmute myself. You guys can find me on Instagram, Artgense, ARTGENCE, ARTGENCE. I really celebrate Black artists on my Instagram profile. I look at my DMs on a daily basis. So if you have any questions, please reach out to me. But I want to leave you with this. Young artists, like, build your team. Build your team now. Get people on your team that on subject matters that you don't know about. A writer, if you're an animator, get a writer. If you're a writer, get an animator. If you're a programmer, get a UX UI designer. If you need music, find someone that's producing music and tracks and all that stuff. Build your team. That's what we do as older guys. So that's the one thing I want to leave with you guys. And also, that's part of your community building, for your NFT projects. When you have 10 people on your team, and that 10 people know another 10 people, and that 10 people know another 10 people, then you've grown your community. So keep that in mind when you're putting these things together. Don't feel like you can do it all yourself, because you can't. And so try to find people smarter than you to join your team, and grind. It's a grind. So that's it.
I love that. I love it. Marcus, do me a favor, pick up the microphone that you're using and then drop it, because that was epic. Sincerely. Yeah, that was amazing. Absolutely amazing.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Victor,
right?
you're stealing my line.
I'm sorry, Robert.
Yeah,
Look, we
Robert.
was in the same vibe. It's
all I was going to say, at least for me, the best way to get in touch with me is through LinkedIn. So go look up my name, Robert Frederick, as it's spelled on the screen right now, and look at the company. I'm not very good at spelling, so I do Circle, SIRQUL.com. We're an accelerator. I'll actually say we're a metaverse accelerator. We actually are coming out with a product called UR3D, as in the letter U, R, 3D.world. If you see that one coming up, is not using Unity or Unreal.
Okay.
It's actually using our own engine.
Nice.
We're talking about something that is, ready to compete. I'm telling you, I'm an OG. We're coming.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
And one of the cool things here is, please reach out to me. I don't care if you are, I've already had 2 or 3 people reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm sending messages back and forth to them now. Come to my website, go to ur3d.world, go to circle.com. You'll see all sorts of things that don't match. Game development, 3D development, IoT. We're doing actual true digital twins. That's why I wanted to talk to Marcus, right?
All the things.
True digital. We're talking foot by foot, inch by inch digital twins for spaces, so that people can interact both in the physical world and in the digital world, in the
That's
metaverses of choice. And so again, please reach out to me if you have an idea. I'm so open to basically talking to people, and I'm coming down to Atlanta. I'm going to find each and every one of you, and we're going to have lunch and dinner and build. Because
the community
what
is
Marquis
built
said
right
for
before
sure
us.
is let's just build and make this our own. You know what I mean?
I love that. I love that.
It's almost the FUBU thing all over again, right?
But it'll last a little longer. It'll last a little bit
Showing
longer.
my age, right?
Yeah, there we go. Adrian, what about you? Where can we find you?
Yeah, on sorry, I'm still laughing, FUBU. Yeah, so Charllote TV. So it's just COLLIMATION TV on all platforms. Reach out on LinkedIn, Adrian Rashad Driscoll. I got like 30 requests right now, so I'll get to you guys, I promise. And then if you just want to keep up with my everyday life and all the shenanigans I get into on Instagram, it's Driscool. It's DRISCOOL. That's it.
Nice. Rob, bring us on home.
You can go to disrupt.art. I first want to connect with everybody on this panel. It's amazing being around so much Black excellence and building in this space. So I see a lot of points for us to intersect and align, because our platform allows you to. We have our own IPFS system, and all you on the panel know what that means. So then we can mint movies on our actual platform, and you can mint on chain, like metaverse ready type of content. So you guys are ready I'd love to have a conversation. And then for those in the audience, disrupt.art on all socials. On LinkedIn, you can look up Rob Richardson Jr. And I'll just leave you with this, like, Blockbuster thought the future was going to be in these physical movies being collected, and they had a chance to own Netflix. Netflix approached
passed on it.
They did, right? But they're like, nah, we don't think people are going to get that. And, Blockbuster's out of business, and Netflix is obviously a multi-billion-dollar business. So creators, all you listening, be Netflix. Do not allow yourself to be intimidated to say you can't understand this tech. This tech is not, you don't need to understand all the tech. Most people don't understand the technology behind email. You just know that you send information and it gets to that person. All you need to know is that this is an avenue for you to take art, to take events, anything with data and events and interactions. You can make a name for yourself and have an opportunity in the space, but don't be intimidated. Don't say you can't learn. Don't say you're not technical, because those are like fear blocks or things that have been said to us to keep us in our space.
Absolutely.
Don't allow anybody to be in your space. Define yourself for yourself, by yourself. Get into the space and build. You can do it. Don't allow yourself to be intimidated.
That's the message, y'all. Rise up. I'm going to pass this off to Rio, but before we go, thank you all for joining us. This has been amazing. I appreciate all of your expertise and talent. And Rio's here. Hello.
Guys, this was amazing. And ladies, and clearly next year we need 2 hours for this panel.
Right.
Rob Richardson, I see you. I mean, you were dropping knowledge where I was like, this guy needs, a lecture hall. And, Robert Frederick. Talk about the OG. Like, I feel smarter already. Actually, I don't. I feel so much dumber, but I'm excited about what's possible here. So I love that everybody has just dropped their own knowledge. Marcus, I don't even know if we recognize that you are in Europe. You're in Paris, France.
Paris.
So doing your thing. And so we love that you took some time for us. I think it's probably dinner time for you now. Or bedtime, I'm not sure. And then I just have to throw a shout out to the ladies, Shay and Nia. Thank you, because oftentimes when the future comes and it comes crashing towards us, we don't see a lot of females. And so I love that you guys are at the forefront, and I love that these brothers are supporting you. And I think that there's going to be a powerful alliance here. Victor, the original comic book guy and fan, you were the right moderator, because NFTs are fan-based. They can be. They're exciting. They're collectible. So everything we were all talking about is phenomenal. So thank you, everyone. We're going to go ahead and remove you from the stage, if you don't mind. And I just have a couple of housekeeping notes for folks. It is now 1 o'clock Pacific time and 4 p.m. Eastern, and we've had some amazing programming today. And what I'd love to do now is direct everybody to the left of your screen, that way or that way, I'm not sure, and you'll see sessions, and you'll see the expo. there are amazing people who have put together some great programming in the expo. Not only the major studio sponsors that we mentioned earlier, but we've got not only a session by Sony ImageWorks. If you click on the session there, they'll be talking about working in this industry and being diverse perspectives of working in animation. And then we have Maxis as an exhibitor sponsor. Please click on their booth and go in and check them out. Mainframe, they loaned us 2 people. We heard from Greg Little earlier today, and we'll hear from Tanya Green and from their preschool team tomorrow. And so please check out their booth. And then of course, Kickstarter, we have a whole panel dedicated to funding your independent project tomorrow. So Kickstarter is going to be there. We've got some representatives there. But again, please check out all the booths to the left of your screen. If you just hit Expo, there's amazing content there. But now I really want to direct you to the sessions. Disney TV Animation brought it for us again. They joined us last year with our, industry vet, Jay Francis, but he's now introduced us to the Proud family. And again, we heard from the Craig with the Creek people earlier. The Proud family